Jaco Strydom is the founder of Echo Youth Development, a non-profit organization in South Africa with 14 community homes for youth in need. He lives in the Echo community in Pretoria. Ladies and gentlemen, Jaco Strydom.
I live in the Echo community in Pretoria, but I'm originally from the Free State, and I was invited to speak at an English event there in the inner city, at TLF, and I thought it actually went quite well for a Free Stater. And then Caroline, our social worker, she was also there. She said afterwards, Jaco, it went actually quite well. But just next time, remember, it's the Jews and the Gentiles, not the Jews and the genitals. So I speak to a lot of young people, and when I ask them what is their plans for after school, they would say, the one group would say, I just want to leave. I don't want to stay. I want to get away from this place. If you ask them why do you want to leave? Why are you going to go to Australia and Canada and Europe? Then they would say, but have you seen the unemployment rate in South Africa? Have you seen the state of the public schools? Have you seen the state of the public hospitals, the water crisis that's just going to get worse in Cape Town? Every now and again you see some signs of that. There's no future. We want to get away from this place. And then every now and again I meet some real weirdos, another group of young people. And if you ask them, what's your plans for after school? They would say, I'm going to stay right here. And if you ask them why, you know what they say? They say, Jaco, have you seen the state of the public schools? I'm going to become a teacher at a school where there's a lot of need. Have you seen the state of the public hospitals? I'm going to become a nurse or a doctor. They would say, have you seen the state of the growing water crisis in Cape Town? I'm going to become a microbiologist. I'm going to sort it out. Or I'm going to become an entrepreneur and employ people. I once met an older guy, he's in his 50s, and he made this choice to be busy with the question, where is the need the greatest and how can I make a difference? And you know what he said? He said, I'm so busy these days, I don't know where I'm going to get time for a midlife crisis. So I really believe that attitude makes you feel alive, and even more alive in the worst places. That if we are called to be a light, that it's the darkness where we are needed the most and where we will feel the most alive and the most purpose. In our community, we live together for the last 23 years across racial divides, economical divides, social divides. Someone once said we live in these hippie colonies. We've got houses. We focus especially on high school kids because most orphanages don't take in a high school kid. Sometimes for a reason. Sometimes the wheels come off in children's lives later in their lives. And also after school kids. They've been in a childcare system and now they're 18 or 19 and now they're totally alone. They don't have any support system and they have to fend for themselves. And they actually want to start a new life so that their children don't end up in childcare systems to break the chain. And we have some really weird people living there. Some legends. We've had Joshua. He hiked from the Congo after he was a child soldier. And he ended up in the street in Pretoria. And today he's living an amazing life, making a big difference. We've had 3 sisters that's staying with us that they came overland from Burundi and they're living in our community and they're the most beautiful, wonderful people. We've had a guy who was, just to give you an idea, who's been expelled from the reformatory school. Hy's geskort uit die verbeteringsskool. Om jou 'n idee te gee. And so we have Echo houses here in Pretoria, 5 houses where we live together. A little block of flats there in Joburg, in a very old house in Melville, and a farming community in Frankfurt in the Free State, and under isiBindi's management in Cape Town, quite a few houses there in actually we weet iemand het Frans toe Frans nou wys wat hulle met die silo's te doen. Ek ja, mense kan tot bekering kom, maar plekke ook. And ons het selfs al 'n paar kerkgeboue tot bekering gebring, jy weet. So in Cape Town, we've got 2 church buildings where people are living in this new community across all kinds of divides. We've got Zulus, Sothos, Xhosas, Afrikaners and Coloreds, and we have a guy from Iran who's part of our faith community, who was a leader for a long time, still involved in our community, and Afrikaners and even English people. And we all live together and we share together. But you would think the weirdest people in our community is this guy who's been expelled from the reformatory school, or the ones the child soldier from the Congo. But I tell you, the weirdest people are the group who move in there because they want to make a difference. So the one group comes because they need help. They're down and out. They have no support system. But the other group, the really weirdos, are those who move in because they want to make a difference. Once we needed some leaders. We started a new house. I put up a poster at Tux at the university. I said, sleepless nights, no privacy, difficult teenagers, you must share everything, your car, your laptop, your cell phone. Contact me if you're interested. And then these weirdos would pitch. And it works best if they're also in it for the learning, not just, I come here to help other people, but I've got a lot to learn from an ex-child soldier from the Congo. There's so much to learn from this guy, or these girls that came from Rwanda, or the street child, the colored street child that joined our community. We have a lot to learn from them. So we have, Wilhelmine who stayed there for a long time, was an architect. And David, the engineer. We've got teachers. Just about every occupation you can imagine. And we live together in these little hippie colonies we call eco communities. And we share our lives. So let me tell you 2 stories that we've got a lot of stories in our community. But 2 of the stories that I think that will maybe contribute to the theme of today. The one is, there's a guy in our community, we call him Bushy, because there's too many Jaco. So imagine if they call that guy Bushy and they still call me Jaco, what he looks like. And so he moved in years ago. He lived there for 9 years. He's still involved today. And he actually studied business investment. And he started a business with a friend. And even today, they're giving a lot of people jobs in our community and from the isiBindi community in Cape Town. But he lived like 9 years in our houses. And he got rid of his car. And he said that I will drive public transport with the people in our community. And I asked him, we're a little bit like the zoo. People come to visit to see how crazy this community is. And someone asked him and said, why did you get rid of your car? And he said, but there's a lot of cars. There's enough cars in this community, so I don't need my own car. And when he said that, I remember something that Shane Claiborne shared. He stayed in one of our houses when he was speaking in Cape Town, and they have got a community called The Simple Way. And we really try to rediscover simple living, traveling light. And Shane Claiborne asked him about their community and how they share everything and so on. And he said, the life of simplicity is only possible in community. Because if everyone shares everything, everyone needs so much less. And it's a wonderful discovery if you can make that. The other story is about a hospital. It's a story that gives me so much hope today. And it happened quite a few years ago. We would take our kids and try to teach them that they can also contribute. You don't help a child, even no matter how bad the background was, if they still feel like a victim afterwards. They must feel I can contribute. I've got the best reason to make this world a better place. And maybe my scars could be my biggest testament. I can make a difference in this world. So we take them on these community projects where they are the team. They make the difference, And our theme is always loving and learning. We're asking these two questions. What can we learn and how can we love? And we've been to this hospital, the old Matlala Hospital, then Old Leboa. It was a mission hospital. Later on, it became a state hospital, and it was in a bit of a bad state at that stage. People, wonderful people, but the hospital, it was still a bit broken down. And but we met the most beautiful people there, really giving their lives to the community. And Shireen, our social youth worker, she connected with one of the sisters, and she said, "We've got a sisters' prayer meeting on Wednesday morning, 7:00. We want to invite you to come and share something." She said, "Jaco, you're the pastor, you share, but let's take a few of our kids with." So we went into that hospital, me and Shireen, the youth worker, and 2 Zulus and a Xhosa, and a Sotho, and a colored guy, and an Indian guy, and 3 white girls, and I can't remember, but we all went into the hospital 7:00 in the morning. And Shireen said, every now and again, she said, "Shh, you must be quiet. The patients are sleeping." And then we entered this typical long hallway. It was going, a little bit up, opdrane. You could look way down up in this hallway, and in the middle somewhere, a door opened. And this big nurse came bursting out, and she started singing, "Hallelujah, Hosanna." I said to Shireen, "We must be quiet, huh? Patients are sleeping." So we walked towards her, and as we walked, she was the bell. Many doors started to open, and more nurses joined. And then it got more and more interesting, because some of the clerks and the cleaners joined, and then the doctor joined. And then the next moment, some of the patients joined. A guy came rolling in on his wheelchair, and a girl with this little trolley, with the drip on the trolley, in a nightgown, and she joined. And just when I thought I've seen everything, a guy at the psychiatric ward in an overall, he came flying in like a hippie on Moonflower, and he landed next to us, and he joined in on this thing. And I thought, I don't have much to share with these people. I've got a lot to learn, but I read a verse, we prayed. Everybody hugged each other, as it often works there. And next moment, we started toying down the hallway. The big sister in front. I later learned she's in charge of discipline. And sometimes in a movie, when there's that really special moment, it's as if it's in slow-mo, or the music goes down a bit. It's this holy moment. And I experienced that, and I looked around me, and I saw in this broken down hospital, saw the most beautiful thing. I saw a doctor dancing with a patient, and white and black and colored people and Indian people dancing together. And I saw the most amazing thing. I thought, it must make you a better doctor to maybe dance with your patients once a week. And I looked around me, and I saw the guy in the wheelchair is wheeling, and the girl with the drip is going like this. And I thought, she's getting more than she should, but it seems to make her happy. And the guy from the psychiatric ward was flying at the back. And I thought, if this dance is possible in this broken down hospital, then maybe it's possible in other places in our country too. And that's been our dream, to make that, to try to dance that dance in the Moot, in our 5 houses there, in a little block of flats in Joburg, and the old house in Melville, and the farming community in the Free State, and the old church building there in Oosterlig. And we believe that diversity is not a curse, but our biggest blessing, if we can dance in unity. And we believe that the best way to stay is to realize and to know that we have the most to learn from the people who are different from us.